Good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Well, wherever you may be, thanks for tuning into the Grateful Yardy podcast, episode number 42. It's me, Drew, here talking to things I'm on the ends as usual. Can always hit us up at facebook.com/the Grateful Yardy podcast, on IG, Instagram, Mr. _special, on Twitter, that is at Mr. Special, and you can check us out on YouTube, which is at the Grateful Yardy podcast. All right. At the top of the show, you heard a theme, which I told you last week we are doing. It's called the TV theme song challenge. So if you know the theme that was played at the top of the episode, leave me a comment after you like and subscribe on YouTube and hit the bell notification to know whenever I post videos. Tell me what the name of the theme is, and if you have a story or a memory about that particular program, leave it in the comments and I will read it on the next episode. All right? All right. So today I need to talk to things about the fight coming up, UFC 214, which is with Daniel Cormier versus John Jones for the undisputed UFC light heavyweight title. We all know the story, what happened with John Jones for UFC 200, tested positive, got a suspension. Daniel Cormier went on a tear. He beat Rumble Johnson. He beat Alistair Gustafsson, etc., etc. John feels that Daniel is not the champion because he didn't beat John for the belt. But when you fuck up, the company has all right to strip the title from you. John Jones was fucking up, making the UFC look bad with all of his antics, and Daniel Cormier won the title. So he is, to my eyes, the rightful owner of the light heavyweight championship. John Jones can think whatever he wants to think. I think John Jones is one of the pound for pound best fighters in mixed martial arts. Do I think he's winning on Saturday night? Yes. I think Daniel Cormier is fighting still pure on emotion because he's upset that he lost the purse for UFC 200. I also heard today in a press conference with him that he was willing to sign something so he could fight John Jones at UFC 200. And we all know what happened in the first fight. We saw John Jones out wrestle a wrestler, etc., etc. John Jones won the fight, but I think Saturday is the same thing. I think John Jones is more mentally stable now. He got the championship and all these things very quickly and very young. He won the title at 23, and then he ended up with the Nike deal, and all this stuff came very quick. And sometimes us young guys don't understand how to deal with the pressures of being a champion. But I also feel that with John Jones, his problem is that the title, because at the end of the end of the promo video, he says that I have to win this fight. I have to get my life back. So this title is tied to his life. This is just a moment in time for an athlete. These years that an athlete plays professional sports or whatever, it's a moment in time. Because we hear guys, I'm 35 years old, and we hear all the time when a guy hits 35, well, he's on the downward spiral of his career. He's in the twilight of his career. He's past his prime. At 35 years old, you have passed your prime. So that means in retrospect, you still, if you were working a regular job and you're my age at 35, you still have 30 more years of work ahead of you. So do I feel that John Jones got these things very quickly at a young age, didn't know how to adapt, didn't know how to deal with them, went all crazy, started coking himself, had to go to rehab. I hope that he's on a straight path. I hope that we don't hear something on Saturday morning that he can't fight because he tested positive again, etc., etc. I'm going with John Jones to win this fight. I don't know. I'm gonna say John Jones in the third round. He finishes um, Cormier because I think with the rest, the long training camp, and understanding the game more and maturity level, because he lost everything and now he's trying to regain it. But your life should not be tied to a title belt, because that is what's going to hurt you in the long run, because this is a moment in time. It's going to pass, and you got to live the rest of your life, because you're going to get to 30 and 40. And we've seen mixed martial artists like Randy Couture go at 50. We saw not too long ago, we saw Ken Shamrock fight Kimbo a couple years back, and Ken Shamrock was 50 plus years old. So it can happen. We've seen it in boxing before. Those things can happen. But I think that John Jones, I hope, understands going forward, and he regains his belt. And we're all hearing the talk about this potential super fight in December with John Jones and Brock Lesnar, which I would love to see. So I'm praying that John Jones wins the fight coming up on Saturday. I'm predicting John Jones in the third round by TKO or a knockout. All right. We all know also in the sports world that our boy Kyrie Irving of the Cleveland Cavs wants out. And we also heard today, doing our little research, that LeBron was trying to work out a deal so they could get CP3 2 seasons ago. So let's do a little history for those who don't know the Kyrie history. LeBron leaves the Cavs in 2010 and takes his talents to South Beach. 2011, Kyrie is the first overall draft pick to the Cavs. I think they go 22 and 51 in his first season as a rookie. Then we fast forward to 2015, and LeBron says he's coming home. Kyrie just signed the extension a week prior to that, thinking that he's going to be the face of the Cleveland Cavs. Then LeBron allegedly wanted him out 2 years into, or a year into him coming back. Then now Kyrie saying he can't play with LeBron. I think there's a lot of mistrust, a lot of angst is out there. I think a lot of pride and ego is out there. I think we're in an era in the NBA, that the super team era that it is. And I think that guys want to be able to play with friends that they've played with at the Olympics or at World Championships. And do I think Kyrie can be the man on a team? No. I think Kyrie is a great secondary guy. Kyrie is a Pippin. LeBron is not a finisher. I'm glad that Kyrie has the ball in his hands to finish out games. LeBron doesn't have that killer instinct. He is 6'8", moves like a freaking gazelle. But when it comes to crunch time, I do not trust LeBron with 4 minutes down by 6 to bring them back like I used to trust Michael on my Bulls. Do I think my Bulls should trade for Kyrie? The rumor was when we were trading Jimmy Butler, that was one of the deals that could have went down. Derek Rose, going over to the Cavs helps the Cavs, I think, going in the long term if they do trade Kyrie. I don't think Kyrie is going to be a Cav going into training camp. I think the best fit for Kyrie would be the Spurs, because because you got, number one, Pop knows how to coach, number one. And number two, with the aging Tony Parker, Kyrie's only 25. Potential sky's the limit with a young Kyrie. And you know how the Spurs can always retool, and the Spurs know how to draft well and find players that nobody else can find. So I think the best bet, if they need to trade him, would try to get a package of draft picks, maybe some young players, or maybe some players that can help them, and go for it. The other deal would be the Knicks, if you can offload Kyrie and maybe Kevin Love to get the kid from France and Carmelo. I'm hearing a lot of deals, but even though Kyrie gave his list of 5 teams, doesn't mean that the Cavs are going to trade him to those 5 teams, because he doesn't have a no trade clause like LeBron does. So they can trade him anywhere or they can keep him. So, and everybody's saying the best bet for the Cavs is that Kyrie gets traded to the Phoenix Suns. Okay? Also, we saw in the news today, and this is something that really disgusts me very much, and it hurts because I'm an ally for my LGBT and my trans community. And what came down today with Trump, President Trump, which I still to this day don't believe it's true that he is president, came down saying that transgenders are no longer going to be able to serve in the army. And here's what I'm saying. I am tired, and this is the same fight. Black people, we've been going through this civil rights fight for the last 400 years. We've been stripped of our culture. We've been stripped of our identity. They take our stuff and ghettoize us. They demean us. They've treated us like cattle. They've raped our women. They've taken our resources. And we still fight. And my trans community is still fighting because they need. The thing is, they are people. They are not aliens. They are not robots. They are people. And what Trump did today is disgusting. It's deplorable. It's awful. They should string him up for it. If America is a really progressive nation, they should be calling for his head, because this is ridiculous in 2017 that somebody that is a transgender cannot join the armed forces and fight for the rights of the American public and the American people and the freedoms that are in the Constitution. I can go on about how black people were not involved in the Constitution and they looked at us as property back when the founding fathers of the United States of America drew up the Declaration of Independence, but that's for another episode. But all I'm saying is that I am disgusted as a human being that trans people cannot are being banned. The same way I was disgusted with the travel ban for Muslims. It's disgusting. It's deplorable. It's sickening that we as people we don't look at people for people. You're Muslim, you're a terrorist. You're transgender, you need to be locked away because you're not clean, you're not cleansed. Shut their ass up. They're people too. And there's too many of them losing their lives because they are in depression and they have nobody to talk to. And this is just putting the world backwards. Because everybody looks at America as the powerhouse, but they look stupid by doing something like this. Donald Trump needs to be heiced up and he needs to resign, because these things make my blood boil as somebody that sees the injustice for that community. It's sad, it's sickening, and it needs to stop. All right? Also, people, let me tell you this very, very, very clear. Black men, check your ego at the door. When I say that, I mean this in the most positive way possible. We're in 2017. Okay? Which means nobody cares what you're doing in your household. Check your ego at the door. If you're the one that's cooking the food, who cares? If you're the one doing the laundry, who cares? If you're the one that's combing out your daughter's hair, who cares? Nobody's watching for you. Check your ego at the door, because your woman might left you because of your ego. Your ego is what's killing you, because you think, well, she needs to do what I tell her to. No, it's called a partnership. You're in a relationship with somebody, you're partnering with them. Relay. You ever watch relay races on track and field? Stick, you pass the stick. It's a relay team. Relationship. Relay together. You know what I mean? So when you have your ego and your egos buff up because the world's telling you one thing. The world, listen, what used to make us as black men cool, okay? And I read this quote, and if you follow my personal page, you see me posted a few days ago. What used to make us cool is that we never, as a black man, we never looked at ourselves as victims on anything. We took the negativity and turned it positive and kept it moving. But nowadays we're making our ego and our pride and our bad mind in our fellow man get in the way of our progress and our what made us men. You're not a victim if you are a strong man and you can sit there and be able to have a conversation with your woman about gender roles. That's what makes you that's when you check your ego at the door, because you don't care about what the outside world thinks. That's what makes you a man. When you don't care about the outside world thinks and you care about the people that are in your day-to-day lives and what they think and how they perceive you to be and watch how you move, that's what makes you a man. Check your ego at the door. It needs to stop. That's what's killing us, black man. That's what's killing us. Check your ego at the door. You have to change a nappy. If you had a young baby and you got to change a nappy, change a rat's nappy. Doesn't make you less of a man. Check your ego. You got to feed your baby. That doesn't make you less of a man. You're pushing a stroller by yourself. That doesn't make you less of a man. Because your woman makes more money than you, that doesn't make you less of a man. What it makes you is that you understand your role and your position in the household. That's checking your ego one side and making what is best for you and your family going forward. All right? So let me tell you this again. Black men, men in general, people in general, check your ego at the door. That's why enough people don't have brethrens anymore, because they think people come in your life for a reason, season, or some other thing to teach you something. And it's up to you to educate yourself and learn from it. You win or you learn. You never lose. All right? All right. And check your ego at the door. As usual, YouTube channel is where you can find the podcast. So episode 40, 41, and this episode will be on the YouTube channel. So check us out, youtube.com/thegrateful podcast. You can always hit me up on Facebook, facebook.com/thegrateful podcast. On Instagram at Mr_SPECYAL, and on Twitter at Mr. Special, spelled the same way as the Instagram. All right. God bless. Stay grateful. Peace.